Welcome to Seattle College's international programs and our show Conversations With, where we talk to people that help you understand how you too can be an international student in the United States and why Seattle Colleges should be your first choice. We'll talk to students and staff and agents and government folks, all kinds of people about what you can expect when you're getting ready to apply or travel here, what you'll experience while you're with us, and how it can all lead to an amazing life. Don't forget to check out the Seattle College's International Programs website at intl.seattlecolleges.edu, where you can find a treasure trove of information about the school, the programs here, and best of all, fill out and submit your application. Again, that's intl.seattlecolleges.edu. Hey everybody, welcome back to Seattle College's Conversations With. It's the 100th episode! 100th episode. Can you believe it? 100 episodes ago we started this. Wow. Thanks for joining me. Today I have special guest, Johan François.
Special.
This is his third
podcast.
Third podcast.
It's great. Happy to be here.
Do you get approached on the street because you've been...
Not as often as you do, but yeah.
Yeah?
I was recognized in Mongolia.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Just from wearing my, baseball cap.
That's
cool.
cool.
With the Seattle Colleges logo on it. Yeah.
All right.
So, it does happen.
It does happen. And, of course, we have Gina Nakamura!
Hello.
Now, if you were tuning in during season 1, we didn't have video at that time. So this is your first time to gaze upon Gina Nakamura. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thanks for helping me celebrate. We wanted to bring on our most senior marketing and outreach team members.
So old.
Yeah, you're making me sound so old.
Well, Johan does come in with a cane from time to time.
Yes, I do. But that's because of my knees.
But we should celebrate because yesterday, Johan got his 20-year pin with Seattle Colleges. That's
You really
awesome.
want to make me feel old. Is that what you want to do
Well,
today?
you started when you were 10, so you're still young.
Yeah, 20 years with Seattle Colleges.
20 years.
Crazy.
20 years.
With international programs.
All right, so you guys, if you're just tuning in because you haven't been, we want to let you know who these guys are exactly. You know their names, but let's start with Gina. Let's start telling them, where do you serve? What do you do exactly?
So nice to meet you. I'm Gina, and my regions that I represent when I get to go abroad are Southeast Asia, minus Vietnam, and South Korea. I am from Seattle, so I'm born and raised here. Wow. I love my home city. I've never lived anywhere else, and I'm a product of Seattle Colleges. So I am going on my 26th year here at Seattle Colleges because I was able to start at 16 years old, so you can kind of do the math and see how old I am.
That's amazing.
But yeah, you started as a student.
Started as a student.
At South Seattle College.
Yep, in that High School Completion Plus program that international students can also do right now. Starting off college right away at 16, automatically getting your high school diploma. And then I eventually transferred on to the University of Washington, Seattle campus, go Huskies. And yep, that was the end.
Okay, well, we got to talk about High School Completion Plus a little bit more because it's kind of dear to your heart, yes. I think. Yeah. So if you are just kind of joining us in this crazy show, you should know about High School Completion Plus for international students. You want to give them the spiel? What is it exactly? Why is it so great?
Well, first of all, it's unique in America because there's only one state out of all of our states that can offer it, which is our state of Washington. And basically to qualify, all you have to do is have at least completed a minimum of 9th grade on a transcript, on your high school transcript, showing a B average. And then you can start our process. You can apply, and as long as you're 16 by the first day of classes, voila, automatically you can come here, sit down in class, and right next to you are college students. Nobody actually knows that you are 16 years old. You are just a college student. But when you finish your degree, say a college transfer degree, which is most typical, you automatically can get your Washington State high school diploma.
2 for 1.
Amazing.
That really is amazing.
Boom.
Amazing.
And it's only in Washington.
Yes.
Yep. Lucky.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is a compelling reason for you to come to the state of Washington, come to one of our great community colleges here and do the High School Completion Plus program.
Yeah, you can save even more time and money than usual, and it's definitely a great opportunity. So,
Right.
Depending on your birthday, when you start, and if you want to take summers as a vacation or not, you can actually get a bachelor's degree by 19 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I get approached a lot by kids that are paying private school tuition.
yep.
It's like, save that money, guys.
Yes. Yes. If you are mature enough, and if you are motivated enough, and if you have, of course, good results in high school, why not go to college a little earlier than usual and get started with your higher education, early.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a great opportunity.
Maybe you're ready to leave your parents right now.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to do something exciting and fresh and on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
But maybe it also costs money so Johan can tell us about some additional ways to fund it.
Oh.
Sure.
Is there money out there to be had for these kids?
Yes. So we talked about scholarship in the past,
Yes, we
but it's probably the question we get asked the most often. Are there scholarships out there available for international students? Can I apply? How much can I get?
Mm-hmm.
Is there other ways I can reduce the cost of my tuition or my education?
Right.
So, we're very happy to say that starting in January, any student, doesn't matter if you're a new or future student or currently enrolled at Seattle colleges, all students can apply for our foundation scholarships, and these are up to $5,000. So it's a great opportunity, for you, your friends, your classmates to save money and reduce that cost. So don't hesitate. Even if you haven't applied yet, you can start with your scholarship application and then work on your admission application later or at the same time. So those are 2 separate applications, and you should definitely, not miss this opportunity this year. So the foundation scholarships are available every year from mid-January to mid-March. So there's a 2-month window of time for students to apply. And it's all done online, and it's merit-based. So it's going to be mostly based on your grades, either in high school in your home country or in college here in the U.S. if you're already enrolled in our colleges. You will have to write a couple personal statements, and you will need to provide some recommendation letters. So it's mostly based on your performance and your merits. And the good thing about the foundation scholarships, as you find out recently, is that there's one application, but you get considered for maybe 500 different scholarships. So
That was really crazy.
Yeah, it saves you a lot of work and time and effort. So it's a great opportunity for students.
But since the last time we talked about scholarship, I've actually discovered a couple other scholarships other than the foundation scholarship. Can you think of any others?
Of course, yeah. So there are lots of different scholarships. Sometimes some are offered by our office directly, and so you definitely can double up. So foundation scholarships are always available every year, regardless of your status. And then you can definitely, if you see that something is available, apply also for others. So sometimes scholarships that we offer, I know our medical insurance provider offers scholarships twice a year.
Pretty generous.
Pretty generous. Our partner universities offer scholarships as well. So
Transfer scholarships.
transfer scholarships are huge, and that's something definitely you'll look into when you get ready to transfer. So,
and once you're here, if your grades are good, you can be invited into Phi Theta Kappa. Phi Theta Kappa has its own scholarships.
Student honor societies.
So there's a lot of different ways you can fund your education. And did you work on campus when you were a student?
I did work on campus, and I actually won this foundation scholarship that Johan just described to you 2 times.
Same.
And you as well. Yes, high five, high five.
But you were a domestic student.
Yes, but it's the same money.
Same
It's the same pot of money.
yeah.
It's the same. It's actually the exact same award.
Okay.
I won the same amount of money as an international student would win because it's up to the max amount of a domestic. So that's what same award.
Yes.
So, something I wanted to mention to you is I get this question all the time. What are my chances of winning a foundation scholarship when I tell them about it? Right. Which, by the way, that amount is about half of your tuition cost for a year. So we're talking about winning a scholarship that would cover approximately 50% of your tuition. Well, let me tell you that based on last year's statistics, half of all applicants that applied to the foundation scholarship got something. So it is definitely something that you should think about is worth your time and effort and energy to fill out this scholarship application.
Yeah. And also, I'm sure you were about to say it, but the average award that the student won was around $4,000.
Wow, that's really
So even though there are smaller awards, like maybe $500, $1,000, a lot of students are able to get some of those higher amounts, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So we even know students in our office, several of them actually, who got the $5,000 award. So again, not unusual if you put the effort into your application, work on your personal statements, make sure you pick a good teacher for your recommendation letters. You have a very good chance because there's a lot of money in that pot. And the foundation has to distribute that money for scholarships. They cannot keep it for themselves. So they want to give it away to you guys, and you just need to apply and do a good job on your application, and then you have a very good chance.
Right. And, don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast, because in the next few weeks, just before the scholarship opens for application, I did an interview with the director of the foundation, and she came on the show and gave us a bunch of really great information about that scholarship specifically. So be sure to tune into that one and listen. You'll learn a lot. I did. I learned a lot in school.
You're doing a great job for all our students, getting all that intel, all that information out there. So, tune in up for that episode. That will pay dividends for sure.
For sure.
And then another way to get that money in your pocket is to work.
Yes.
And you can legally work while you are a student here. And that's what I did. And that's what Johan did, actually. So we started off as part-time student workers. And when I started off in my job, minimum wage in Seattle was $5.05. Okay.
Wow.
But what is minimum wage in Seattle?
Today.
Now it is just under $20 an hour. And starting January 1, 2025, it will be almost $21 an hour for minimum wage. Now, if you think about that you can work up to 20 hours a week at approximately $20 an hour, and you think about having a part-time job, you in a heartbeat with one part-time job can cover the cost of tuition and then some. So a part-time job could really make the difference to help pay for your rent, your housing, your subscriptions, your Netflix, your Hulu,
Starbucks,
your cell phone, your gaming, exactly, everything.
Gaming. No, that's a really good point. Yeah, but most students work between 10 and 15 hours maybe. So 20 is the max, and some do 20, but I would count on maybe a little less, just a good budgeting.
It's based on the workload that the office will have available. Right. So it could be up to 20 hours, it could be less, but anything is good and anything helps. So even if you work 10 hours at $20 an hour, that would be $200 a week, so $800 a month.
Do they get taxed?
They do pay taxes. Of course, it's income, minimal. But as a student, they're not going to be working, that many hours. And so because of that, when the time comes for them to pay taxes, it's going to be either zero or very small amounts.
And the state of Washington has no income tax.
Yeah. You also, when you pay your taxes, you get credits also for the tuition that you pay at the school. And so that also offsets the whatever tax burden you may have to face. So
what are you talking about?
It's complicated, but on a tax form. But international students, you typically don't need. Yeah. But there is a tax benefit.
Don't worry about it. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Well, we didn't even get. So this is the first time seeing Johan. Tell everybody which parts of the world you cover.
Yeah. So I'm Johan. I'm part of the marketing and outreach team here at Seattle Colleges. And we do assist, of course, students from all over the world. But me specifically, I help students from Western Europe, Vietnam, Mongolia, and up to recently Taiwan. Yeah. And so Yeah, I've been here many years, and I had a chance to travel to many different countries. Some that you handle now, some that you handle now, but now my focus is on the region that I mentioned. So Western Europe, Vietnam, Mongolia, and then still a little bit of Taiwan. But
okay, yeah. Of those places, what is your favorite?
Oh my God! No, don't do this to me. I can't pick a place. You know, there's good things about.
Really hard.
Yeah, there's amazing things about every country,
Mm-hmm.
and I say that very honestly.
It's true.
It really depends, but like Vietnam and Mongolia are very different places.
Very different. Yeah.
But the people are usually very great people, amazing people. It's always fun to talk to parents and students, especially about education.
Right.
I was a teacher before I came to the U.S., and so education has a very special place in my heart. And I think we have a very unique job in that sense that, or chance that we're helping people, build their lives. And so that's really, really, really amazing. But the food is great too. It's great to be able to taste all the different foods from the different countries or different regions of the world. So yeah, that's
Western Europe, Vietnam, Mongolia, great places to hang out.
yeah.
What's been your great experience so far in your regions? I know you can't want to narrow it down to which is your favorite, but like one particular instance that was really memorable. I mean, you just went to Bali for crying out loud. That's pretty cool.
Life is hard, on the beaches of Bali.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate, in my regions, I really appreciate the weather change, to be honest. I love going to places like Thailand and Indonesia and Cambodia, especially because I come to learn that students in those areas and regions, they actually really want my weather. They want cool air every day. Yeah. They will choose air-conditioned air any day over being outside, and I will choose the opposite. So it's been really, really eye-opening to see that.
We often crave what we don't have, right?
That's right.
That's all it is, guys.
But I got to say, when I go to the education fairs in Brazil, like the kids I talk to there, I'm like, where are you thinking about going to school? They're like, Florida. And I'm like, why? Why are you going to go to Florida? It's just like Brazil. Don't go there. Come to Washington. Have a different experience. And then they realize Grey's Anatomy is from Seattle.
Yeah.
And
That's
they're all
right.
excited about coming.
That's right. Don't forget, the first Starbucks in the world, you can just walk there from Seattle Central College. Sleepless in Seattle might be a little bit old, but Grey's Anatomy is newer. Even newer, we've got Twilight was filmed in Washington.
Twilight.
You might know those.
If you listen to some of the past podcasts, we've had students on the show who are like Twilight junkies and go on pilgrimages to Forks, Washington, or down to the Columbia River Gorge to see the filming spots.
Yeah. Great spots.
All right. Well, so we can't narrow down to a favorite place, but let's talk about, you mentioned parents. So how do you recommend people use these podcasts to get their parents up to speed? I mean, it's hard sometimes because they have... Kids seem pretty open-minded to just about anything, but sometimes parents have an idea of what they think is going on.
Of course, yes. And it's a big part of the process, I think. It's totally fine for you guys, if you're a student, to do some research on your own first. I think you have to take ownership of that process.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And so I personally prefer when students, are motivated and involved in their own research, because it's your studies, it's your life, it's your future, it's your and so if your parents make all the decisions for you, probably it's not going to be the best situation. So of course your parents' input is very, very important. They're your parents, they're probably the ones paying for you to come study here.
Right.
But you have to be, kind of in charge a little bit of your education. So as when you come here, you'll be considered an adult and you'll be asked to make decisions all the time. And I think it starts, if you want to come study in the U.S. and in our colleges, you have to start that process, early on. So be involved, you're already listening to this podcast. Hopefully you visited a bunch of different websites, looked at different schools already. If not, get started on that process. and gather a lot of information. So that way, when you go to your parents, you already have a little bit of a plan, and you can talk to them, in detail about the things you want to do. And that way, if they have questions or if they wonder why you want to do a certain thing, you'll have already reasons for why you want to go to the U.S. or go to Seattle colleges or another school. So do your research, think about why you want to actually go study abroad, and have multiple reasons, and then make sure you have details and, kind of create a plan for yourself. And then have an open, sometime I think as young student, I remember when I was a long time ago, when I was young.
Years ago.
Yeah, long time ago. Sometime, we can be a little afraid of having honest conversations with our parents. It's not always easy maybe to talk to our parents, especially when we want to talk about such a big project as, going to America to study. Mm-hmm. But remember that, your parents, of course, love you and they want, the best for you. So again, if you come with a plan and if you explain things and just kind of let them understand, who you are and what you want to do, I think your parents will probably, respond to that in a positive way. So, yeah, it's a big process, of course. And the other thing is that, of course, it's an ongoing conversation. When you first start, to talk about studying abroad, your parents may not be convinced right away. But, invite them to maybe reach out to us or to other schools. Invite them to go to a study abroad fair or, to go to a seminar or a webinar so they can learn more themselves and they can ask questions. A lot of the time, we fear what we don't know. So, studying abroad can be kind of scary and it seems like it's a big process when really, there's tons of people like us ready to help people. So, there's tons of people out there ready to answer questions. With internet today, you can find lots of details anyway. So,
Well, we do a question and answer every. Yeah, go ahead, Gina.
Yeah, actually, something I was going to say is that your parents might not be as tech savvy as you are. I speak from experience, and so help them. I know it's painful. Okay, trust me, but. You know how to reach out to us. You know how to chat. You know how to click Zoom. You know how to find us on social media. You know how to find this podcast. And your parents might not. So be gentle. Know that it's harder for older generations. And help them so that they can really see that we are live, real people. And we can actually do live Zooms every Monday with you. And that's what Evan was just mentioning. So every Monday, depending on your time zone, in Seattle time, we hold an early session and a late session so that whatever time of the world, hopefully there will be a possible opportunity for you to drop in and talk to us live instead of a pre-recording like this or some information that is already uploaded on the internet. You can come with questions to ask us, and we can talk about them. And your parents might feel more confident in that because it is as close to human interaction as possible.
And parents are welcome, by the way. Usually when I've done the Q&A sessions, it's generally just students, but I have seen one parent come on. The two of them were together, actually. So, yeah, don't be afraid to bring your uncle. I mean, we're here to answer questions, and we like to, clearly, we like to talk about Seattle colleges and what community colleges have to offer. I didn't go to Seattle colleges myself, but I did graduate from a community college, so I'm a big believer in the system. I think it's really great. So, yeah, take advantage of us. And we're just 3 of, what do we got? We're up to 6, 7 people in the team now.
7.
So there's a lot of people to talk to if you need to. So we've recently hired 2 others.
2 other marketers. Yeah.
2 other marketers. And they cover the rest of the world that we don't, except for Japan, Mizui. Maybe you've met Mizui out there in Japan. She's doing that. Leslie handles Canada and
US
and Australia. We'd like to have some more Australians here.
But that means for you, customer service, you get your own personal representative for your area of the world that knows about your unique challenges of your area, your country's rules, cultures, everything surrounding your area we specialize in. So know that you're not talking to an AI robot we are actually going to personally help you through this process.
What are some of the challenges you're seeing in your region? I mean, I know I serve Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, a lot of visa issues. What do you see over in your area?
I would say my highest challenge is in the region known as Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. They have gone through some political unrest in the past few years in a way that sometimes prevents students in that area from getting transcripts because their schools don't exist or their transcript ability is not there. There's lots of different reasons why it might be challenging for someone from that region to get a visa or to get documents needed for application. But guess what? Seattle Colleges knows about all of those issues. We are aware. We work with students from that region all the time, and we now have a thriving and great population from Myanmar. Yeah, so just know that whatever the challenges are, we are aware of them. That's why we're here to help you. Come.
We have over 1,000 students, and I don't remember how many. We have quite a few from Myanmar, it seems like. I'm always running into them in the hallway. So
yeah.
What are your big issues? Because Western Europe's way different than.
Yeah, so Western Europe, something unique about Western Europe is that in many countries there, higher education is pretty much free if you compare to the cost of studying college or university in the U.S. So it's sometimes, it's a bit hard to convince someone to spend so much more money to get a degree compared to studying, in their own country in Europe. And then, of course, in Europe, they have the Erasmus program that allows the student there to study, within European country. Yeah, so for pretty much the same price they would in their home institution. So, yeah, it takes kind of a special person to understand the benefits of studying abroad and studying in the U.S. And so usually with our European student, we see a lot of gap year student or students who are doing, maybe a semester abroad or 6 months abroad. So kind of often a shorter type of program, but compared to maybe Vietnam or Mongolia where it's more long term. So
yeah, we did a podcast with a girl from Norway who was here on a short-term certificate. Her significant other was at University of Washington. So yeah, spent a year here studying with us and then back off to Norway.
It's all good,
It is good.
It doesn't matter how long you go abroad. If you get a chance to study abroad, it could be only 3 months, it could be a year, it could be 6 years, who knows.
Right.
But any experience, in my opinion, is good and it will change your mind and just open your eyes to different things. So if you get the chance to study abroad, and it doesn't have to be the U.S., it could be going to Singapore or Hong Kong or wherever. Right. Just getting out of your own country, your own culture, meeting new people, studying in a different way, and all that stuff is going to be good to you. So,
I'm jealous. I miss that's the only thing I regret. The only thing I regret of my educational career between community college, university, all the way up to master's is that I never studied abroad. And if I could redo my own life 100%, I would have done a study abroad. Did you do study abroad?
Well, I was an exchange student.
Oh, so you did. Yeah. That's my one regret. Don't follow my example, okay? You do study abroad.
You're kind of doing it now.
Yes.
You are a student.
I'm making up for it.
You're making up for it in a big way.
Now, the thing that most international students do not know is obviously if you come from, let's say, Vietnam and you come study here, that's already your study abroad experience, right? But here we have opportunities for our students to go study abroad also and still get credits for their degree here. So if you happen to be an international student from, let's say, Vietnam, studying here, you can join a special program to go to Italy or Spain Costa Rica or wherever. We have lots of different ones. And for maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, they might have different length, but and it would still count for your degree at Seattle Colleges. You would just happen to spend that 3 months at a different institution overseas. So you can double up on your study abroad. You can,
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, times
and
2.
Triple it, because when you get to university, which I didn't do at University of Washington, they have amazing study abroad opportunities there too.
I always forget to talk to students about that kind of thing. So do we have numbers? Like, do we know how many of our international students?
Sansha probably would know more. Sansha is one of our colleagues, and she's in charge of study abroad for students here. So she could probably, if you haven't done a podcast with her, we'll have to convince her to do a podcast.
Come on the
Sansha,
show.
we're going to call you out. But yeah, so she could tell us more about all the different programs they have. I know they have things pretty much every quarter. And every quarter is a different destination. So we were talking about, Rome and Spain and Costa Rica. It's very, it's varied. So
cool places.
If you don't like Italy for some weird reason, you can go to lots of other places.
Who wouldn't like Italy?
I don't know.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. We've had an Italian podcast. Just since this is our 100th episode, I thought it might be fun just to throw some numbers out there.
Sure.
So we've gone from when we first kind of started, we had about 1,000 subscribers. We're now over 64,000 subscribers.
Wow.
So that's a big thing. That's
Evan, congrats.
I really want to thank you
that's
guys
you
for
guys.
joining. There's a lot of people who might be listening that haven't liked and subscribed. Please subscribe. We really want to increase those numbers. In fact, I would love to set a goal. Let's see if we can get to 100,000 subscribers
Yes.
by summer?
End of the school year.
End of the school year.
End of the school
So
year.
you can help make
Yes.
our dream come true to reach over 100,000 subscribers.
Every one of you should recruit 2 friends.
Please.
Or one friend, one parent. Up to you. You can choose.
And your uncle.
And have them subscribe.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
And then we'll definitely get there by the end of the school year.
Yeah. Help us make it happen. And then when you come here, we'll definitely have a little party for you. Probably. Okay, so we've grown a lot. Interestingly enough, Season 2, Episode 22 has the most YouTube views with 67,000 views.
Wow. And that was a student
It's
from...
one of our students. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Right.
I think she's from South Asia somewhere, actually.
Okay.
And then we have... first season was just audio. Now we have both video and audio. So it seems like most people are watching the show on YouTube. But we do have over 2,500 downloads on Buzzsprout and, Apple Podcasts,
Spotify.
So a lot of people still are listening in, which is great. We love that. And the most popular episode was Season 1, Episode 1 with Meryl, who's from Turkmenistan. So check out that first episode. It's really great. Things have changed. Like we have new mics now, and the show's grown a little bit.
Yeah.
The second most popular, and you guys might get questions about this, is with our housing coordinator, Olivia DeVille. Yeah. Season 1, Episode 8, audio only. But yeah, do you guys get questioned a lot about housing?
Of course, all the time.
Yeah. I think I just read in the ISEF, we get the news breakdowns. They were talking about things that were important to international students. And I think 5th on the list was housing. Everybody's really... I don't get a ton of questions, or it's kind of an afterthought question. Like, what do kids do for housing?
Yeah, I think people probably in the beginning focus more on the school and the program and their major. And then, maybe once they get admitted and they get their visa, then they're like, oh, shoot, I'm going to need to live somewhere.
Right.
So, do you have on-campus apartments, or do you have dorms or homestay? And those questions start to come a little bit later. But, if you're looking for schools and if you haven't already selected one, make sure to ask them about housing, because that's a big part of your life on campus or abroad. So, ask your school about the different housing options they have, how much it costs, because that can make a difference too. So,
So what's our housing options, Gina? What can kids do for housing?
Well, we're so lucky because actually most community colleges in the U.S. do not offer housing options on campus. But we had the forethought many, many years ago to build it right at Seattle Central's campus, which is right in the middle of the 3 of our locations. So you have 3 locations to choose from, and our housing is located at the middle location of our city.
The one closer to the downtown.
They're right on the line, by the way. You can get off the airport. You can hop on the light rail and just get off at our campus, which is also where the housing is located at Seattle Central. And the very next stop after that is University of Washington, and then it's North Seattle. So it's very easy.
And for those who don't know light rail is just subway. It's just a different term for the subway.
That's
and
right.
it really is easy
Yeah.
to use and safe. It's great. It really is great.
Yeah, unless you arrive late at night. So if you arrive late at night, first time especially, you'll have probably a bunch of suitcases with you.
Just Uber.
Yeah, just Uber your way to whatever place you're staying at. But if you arrive maybe during the day or later on once you're here and you become familiar with the city, the light rail, the link, the subway system is great.
And by the way, it's different. Universities often have things called dorms. And I'd like to point out that we do not say dorms, nor do we have dorms, because it's a lot more Friends style. Have you seen the episode, the show Friends? You know, you have an apartment and you live across the hallway from someone else with an apartment. They are called apartment studios. So basically they have full kitchens when you live on campus with us, full bathrooms, and you have your choice. You can live with 2 people, 3 people, or 4 people. So, you know, you can create your own Friends episode for yourself.
That's true. And the rent, by the way, is different depending on if it's a 2-person room, 3-person room, or 4-person room.
And how long you stay also.
And how, exactly. So contact Olivia DeVille, our housing person. You can watch season 1, episode 8 to listen all about housing. What are some of the other options that we have besides
Homestay, of course.
Homestay, of course.
And because we're in Seattle, there are tons of private apartment off campus that students eventually can rent. So the off-campus apartment is something that's a little hard to book maybe from your home country in the beginning because you don't know Seattle most likely, and you're not able to visit, you know, the building and the apartment. And you want to be careful when trying to book an apartment from overseas because there's a lot of scams out there.
Right.
So we typically, recommend maybe starting with homestay or the on-campus apartments because then, it's easier to coordinate and reserve. And then once you're here and you make friends at school, once you know the city a little better, then you'll be able to find your own apartment and share it with maybe some classmates to save money.
Right. Friends seem like the important thing.
Yes.
Exactly. You will make friends. Come stay in our housing situation and you will make friends. A lot of them make friends and then move out together into their own local apartments and condos in the neighborhood.
Well, that's why we encourage you to, you're supposed to come to orientation. We encourage you to get to orientation.
It's mandatory.
It's mandatory.
Yeah.
We want you there because you network with the other students.
Yes.
It's a great place to meet other students, other people looking for housing. You can find great roommates there. And it's fun. Usually we do some games and eat and do that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah.
And you can make friends. We have international students right now at Seattle colleges from over 86 different countries. So your group of friends is going to be so multicultural and international.
It's true. We have students, in the podcast, I was looking at some of the countries we've served, just Canada, Afghanistan, Morocco, Jordan, Pakistan, Libya, Ghana, South Africa, Madagascar, Cote d'Ivoire, Eswatini. You guys know the former name of Eswatini?
I do not.
Swaziland.
Oh, Swaziland.
Yeah, not too many people know Eswatini. Burundi, Uganda, Cameroon, Kenya, Belize, Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Bahamas, Peru, Spain, Ireland, Italy, Germany, UK, Russia, no Russians.
Taiwan, Vietnam.
Mongolia, Taiwan, Vietnam, Japan, of course.
Korea, probably.
China, Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar, Indonesia, Nepal, India, Bangladesh. So when you guys are on the road, do you encourage people to listen to the podcast because it makes your job easier? Does it help you?
Definitely. I think outside of all the great information that you talk about and the guests talk about, I think it's a good way also to just practice English. So, of course, some of our students, maybe their English level is already super good.
That's a good point.
So maybe, they don't need to practice as much. But many of our students maybe have an intermediate level or just like a low college level. And just being able to either listen to the podcast or just watch a YouTube video, I think is a great way to kind of practice those listening skills.
Right. And we do have a transcript on that.
Yeah. And
most episodes do.
So I think, you're probably sitting in the bus going to school at some point. Hey, you got that 20, 30-minute block of time, and why not listening to the podcast during that?
Yeah, it's not academic English. It's just people talking.
Yeah.
So it's
going to be probably, more in line with the kind of conversations you'll have with other students, because your classmates, your friends, you're not going to speak, academic English. You're just going to have a relaxed conversation like we are right now. And maybe there's going to be some slang or, some...
Likely.
Yeah, likely, right? So you kind of need to be prepared for that kind of like relaxed, friendly conversation. So, yeah, great way to practice, I think. And you're learning at the same time, so it doesn't hurt.
So maybe I'll let Gina talk about SCIE for just a second. It's the only program we really haven't touched on too much yet. One of the parts of the application process is you have to take some sort of an English proficiency exam. If you don't do well on the exam, don't panic. Why?
Because you can come to Seattle colleges at any level of English that you currently are.
Right.
So don't stress. Take a Duolingo if you want. Take an IELTS. Take a TOEFL. Use your SAT. Use whatever you like. We have a list of things we accept. But if your level isn't at the very, very top college placement level, no big deal, because we have SCIE, which just stands for Seattle Colleges Institute of English. It just means we have a special school for you at the Seattle Central Campus just for English. So whatever level you're at, we will place you in that level and you're good to go. In the middle, so you could start with perhaps a very low level of English.
Intensive English. Yeah.
Intensive English. And then all the way up to college level. In the middle, there's also an opportunity to do a combination of both so that you have a nice, seamless transition from learning intensive English at the lower level to what we call level 3, it's in the middle, to start taking college level classes all the way until you can just take all college level classes.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a great difference between our program compared to other ESL schools. Other ESL schools, they're usually not affiliated with a college or a university, and so they only offer ESL classes. But here, because the Institute of English is part of the college, we are able to integrate college classes into the curriculum. So as you mentioned, level 3, 4, and 5, the upper 3 level of the program, students are already taking college courses part-time. And it's a great way to, get ready for college. It's a nice little challenge. Mm-hmm. And all these credits that you get from these classes will eventually count for your degree. So you're actually saving time and a little bit of money by taking these college classes as part of your ESL program.
Well, let's say they're in an ESL program. Like I've interviewed students for the show that were going to a language school down in Los Angeles or San Francisco, maybe even here in Seattle or some other part of the country. What can those students do?
Well, obviously, we work with a lot of these ESL schools, and often we have agreements with them where if you reach a certain level, then you can transfer it into our program. So definitely ask your school if they have an agreement with Seattle colleges. That could happen. Mm-hmm. And then regardless, even if you don't have a transfer agreement, you can, progress. Once you get to a certain level, take your exam, show us what your level is, and then you'll be able to transfer it into our program. So, of course, our advice is always for you to try to practice English as much as you can, right? Mm-hmm. The more you can learn in your home country, the higher you can, take your level of English, the better, because it's going to save you time and money once you get here. But sometimes it can be really hard to learn English very well in your home country because you don't have many English speakers maybe, or you don't have a good ESL school there, and you're speaking your own language most of the day with everybody else. So even if you spend 1 hour every day studying, that still doesn't equate to a lot of time. So at some point, it might make more sense for you to come here. Once you are in the US, well, guess what? You're going to have to speak English pretty much 90% of the time. Right. And you'll go to school for 20 hours a week. So it's going to be a pretty intensive process, but that's how you learn very well and very quickly. And it's going to make a huge difference for you.
So someone that speaks 2 languages, what do you call that person?
Bilingual.
Mm-hmm. And what do you call a person that speaks just one language?
Unilingual, me.
American! So if you come to the United States, not many Americans speak a second language.
A lot of people do. In Seattle,
but not Americans. Yeah. But not Americans.
Not all over America.
Typical Americans are like me.
Seattle is a pretty diverse place, and it's actually one of the most educated cities in the U.S. So we kind of joke about the fact that most Americans, maybe are not so well versed into the world affairs and foreign languages and traveling abroad and all that. But people here in Seattle are. So there's tons of people here who speak, who are from different cultures and speak different languages. But it's true that if you go, let's say maybe to some remote areas of Texas or Washington State or wherever, yes, there maybe people don't speak as much.
Not as much,
yeah.
Seattle's pretty cosmopolitan.
Seattle is very cosmopolitan.
Yeah, we are like a baby San Francisco, I always tell people. We're hilly. We've got fog or gray skies. We have lots of tech companies, and our cost of living is rising. So we're just like a little San Francisco.
But our summers are glorious. It's not always great.
Perfect.
No.
They're perfect.
Gina, we know that you go out quite a bit. So we want to let's for those of guys that are coming, where should they go? What are the best clubs or places to go out to?
See, he didn't ask me that question because he knows Johan.
But Gina, I know
a few good lounges, though. Yeah, I do.
Oh,
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
What's the good lounge?
Yeah, I'll show you. Right? No. So it's true that I'm not really a club guy. Even when I was younger, I never really liked going out to clubs. You love dancing. That probably makes a lot more sense for you. But I do have to say that there are quite a few lounges on rooftops here in Seattle. And there's one called The Nest, which is...
I like The Nest, above the Thompson Hotel.
Yes, that is really, really nice. It's near the waterfront, and you're at the top floor of this nice hotel, and you get a beautiful view of the Seattle waterfront. And in the spring, summer, fall, when the weather is really nice, it's a great place to have a drink or just spend time with your friends. So tons of great places for if you're more of a loungy, cocktail kind of person. There's tons of places like this, and they often have DJs, so you can still have a little bit of that club atmosphere. But you have to be 21. So, you have to be 21. In the U.S., they are very strict about going out. Yeah, so if you come from Europe, be ready to not be able to go out as much. But
there are still some places, so we do have some underage clubs. They're more rare than the over 21 places, but we also just have a lot of cool spots in Seattle to hang out that isn't related to age. So for example, we have a great theater and art scene. The first Thursday of every month in Seattle, almost all of our museums are free, and you can walk around to all different neighborhoods. One of my favorites is the Museum of Flight. You can actually check out a real Air Force One that the president used to fly in. You can see those kind of stealth airplanes from Top Gun hanging in the air, and you can hang out there till 9 p.m. at night, which is pretty late for a museum. There's a lot of hookah bars in Seattle. We're a very big coffee shop person. There's a lot of these lounges and bars like Johan mentioned that are on top of roofs. We're also a big speakeasy city, which is kind of cool. Once you start to become 21, you get to go to these kind of unique hole-in-the-wall, secret entries, secret doors, secret words to get in. Of course, we have the typical clubs. It's a little past my era of clubs, but right across the street from Seattle Central, actually a block away, we do have a very popular club that hosts a lot of current EDM DJs that travel around the world and do lots of raves. I recently saw Sikik there a few months ago. This club is called Q, which is a block away. And then we also have these really large venues close by for big concerts. So Taylor Swift, for example, I feel like she caused a little earthquake, by the way, in Seattle from everyone jumping. It's very true. I just saw the Rolling Stones a few months ago here in Seattle. Last weekend, it's probably before your time, but I saw Cyndi Lauper. There are big name concerts that come straight to the middle of downtown Seattle because we have sports venues that hold these concert venues. So we've got a baseball team that we have concerts at. We have a football team. It's a different stadium. We also have, where I saw Cyndi Lauper, we have a hockey team. And so those are three large areas that you can see great musicians and great concerts, and very affordable. My Cyndi Lauper ticket was $24.
Oh, that's crazy. Was it a deal?
No, it was just the regular
Just
prices.
$25?
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I saw Maroon 5 a couple of years ago. There's a couple theaters that are farther that you have to drive away from. They're called amphitheaters. They're kind of in this outdoor kind of location. Those are pretty amazing, but they're much larger. They take sometimes an hour or even 2 to drive to. Saw Maroon 5 there for $20.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, great deals.
Wow.
Tons of opportunities.
By the way, a lot of great bands came out of Seattle.
That's
Jimi
right.
Hendrix, that's maybe before some of your his time.
Nirvana.
But Macklemore's pretty...
Macklemore.
Yep, and Macklemore is a former student, by the way, alum of Seattle Colleges. He and his brother came to Seattle Colleges before then transferring to Evergreen State College. That's right, before his
you meet him?
thrift shop. I did all the time.
What?
Yep, I was here.
He still lives in Seattle, so you can see him
Does he?
around. Yeah.
But-
Shout out to Macklemore.
Yeah.
But the big one is Nirvana.
Yes, of course.
Kurt Cobain invented grunge. If you don't know,
Yeah,
check
yeah.
it out.
Pearl Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, a lot of great grunge bands came out of
Rock
Seattle.
bands, yeah. Karaoke also.
Oh, of course, yeah.
We have a karaoke lounge not
That's
too far
right.
from campus here
Across
at
the street.
Central. And,
Same block as our studio apartment.
yeah, so if you're into karaoke, of course you can probably have a karaoke party
Now, it's
at
a little
home. but-
different than the karaoke I did in Asia. Like
Sure.
when I lived in China, it was you
Yes.
get your own. Here, it's like everybody's out in the open.
They do have the one.
They
in
have
the room
rooms.
also.
This one has
but
rooms.
it's true
Right.
that they tend to, do the
Yeah.
one in the big room and with
Check 'em
everybody
all
watching.
out.
Yeah.
That's the Asian style, by the way. The Asian
Yeah.
style is in the
Yes,
rooms, and the
sure.
American style is the out in the bar for everyone
Right,
to see you.
To see.
And if you're into the outdoors as well, I mean, we're all talking about going out and stuff, but if you're into the outdoors, there's hardly a better place.
There's something for everyone in Seattle. So whether you like the arts or
Skiing,
just nature or
snowboarding.
sports, culture. I mean, we talked about museums. Or going out and just having fun. There's tons of stuff to do. So you'll never be bored. And the good thing is that you're going to be meeting people that have different interests than you, and so they might introduce you to something new, and you might fall in love with something that you didn't used to do in your home country, right? So, yeah.
Well, it's already 50 minutes. We're getting near the
Wow.
end here, so we got to wrap this up. We could talk about Seattle colleges all day, and we often do.
Sure.
But we should do last words of wisdom. We talk to tons and tons of students. We are on the road a lot. Come see us on the road, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know if you want to see us in your country. Just send us a message.
Bring your parents.
Bring your
If you know
parents.
that we're coming to your city or your country, and if you know that we are attending a special event where you live, come over. Of course, come say hello to us. But try to bring your parents with you. That'll be that way we can do the all the heavy lifting, as we say, and hopefully help you convince them to let you go study abroad.
All right. Well, final words of wisdom, Gina?
Final words of wisdom. I say, hunt for money. There's money out there for you. And if you're willing to hunt for it like I did, you can cover a lot of your expenses in relation to your tuition. Hunt for money.
It's out there.
That's a
It's
good
hard
word.
sometimes, but it's out there.
That's a good word. You have to be active in
Hunt.
anything you
Hunt.
do, right? So,
Yeah, I'll take that piece of advice a step further. I would say be persistent in all aspects of your international student career. In my regions, especially, getting a visa is especially challenging in a lot of countries. So if you don't get it on your first try, don't despair. Go back, get with Education USA, walk through the process with them. Communicate with us, your outreach people, because we have some ideas on maybe ways to improve your chances. Now, there's no guarantees, of course, but I've heard some students try 2, 3, even 4 times, and then eventually they get it. Don't despair. That would be my thing. And then when you get here, if a class is full, don't despair. Talk to your advisors, talk to other students, I can't help you, I'm worthless. But these guys know more than I do. They were students here. But yeah, there's always someone around that can help out, right? Be persistent.
yeah, be persistent. That's a great advice. And the other one is, do not hesitate to ask for help.
Please.
When you come to the U.S., you have to be more vocal about what you need, especially if you need help. So if we don't know that you need help, we can't help you. right? So the first step is for you to, talk to someone. It could be another student. It could be the front desk person. It could be a teacher. It could be an advisor or a tutor. It doesn't really matter. But reach out to someone that you like or that you have a good rapport with, and share what's going on. Let them know that you're having maybe problems or that you need help. And you'll see, usually a lot of people want to help you.
Sure.
And they'll, they may not be able to solve the problem for you, but they at least will point you in the right direction. They'll connect you with other people who can help you more directly. And that's really the key. So don't be quiet. Don't stay in your room.
Please don't stay in your room.
Saying nothing. Come talk to someone. Ask for help. There's no shame in asking for help. That's part of the process.
And it doesn't have to be a crisis either. You can ask for very mundane things like, hey, I'm looking for a ride to go up to the mountain to go snowboarding. That's okay. Ask those kind of questions.
Yeah, or hey, I want to make more friends. Do you know how can I join some clubs or, get connected with other students?
We're pretty connected.
Yes.
So we can hook them up, right?
Sure, of course.
Of course. But the more you talk, the more you're going to make connections and relationship and friendships. And my teachers, I'm still friends with some of my teachers from community college when I came here because I went and saw them in their office hours. I talked, I made connection. Guess who wrote me those letters of recommendations, right? So the more people you talk to, the more friends you're going to make, the more connections, the more potential job opportunities. That's also how I got the job I got on campus, is because I talked to somebody and that person talked to someone else for me.
Right.
So the more people you can talk to, make connections with, the more opportunities you're going to have. That's how I got my first boyfriend. I got my first boyfriend at South Seattle College. The more people you meet, the more friends you make, the more possibilities you're going to have for opportunities for things in the future.
Gina, I don't think you need any help finding a boyfriend.
No, well, I can't say that I got a boyfriend or girlfriend, but I did get a great education. And one of the great reasons to come to a community college, because you just talked about jobs again, and I was like, after you graduate from here, you can do a year of OPT before you go do your junior and senior year. I don't think that gets talked about nearly enough.
Yes.
Students
you can
want
double
work.
up on your work experience.
It's amazing.
So amazing, yeah. Great way to reduce your cost of your education too. So
True that, yeah, because you get paid while you're doing it.
yeah, you get paid.
Or come work for us and then never leave like we did.
You never know what can happen.
You never know.
You never know.
Wow, 100 episode. Thanks for helping me celebrate today. Woo! Thank you for coming and listening to us. We hope you'll continue to join us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We want to get to 100,000 before the school year ends. We're not that far away. I think we can do it.
We can do
easy
it.
Peasy for
Yes, in our sleep.
Yeah. So share with everybody you know, guys, and listen in every Wednesday. And if you want to be on the show and you're here, or if you're a future student, like, oh, I want to be there, I want to go, I want to be a guest, give me a call or hunt me down.
Comment
That's
under the video.
Right.
You watch these. You respond.
Yeah, I look at the comments.
Yeah. We read everything,
So,
guys.
Yeah, we try, for sure. Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Happy holidays. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Conversations With is painstakingly crafted for you by the Seattle College's International Programs Department and supported by the lovely folks here on our campus. This show is produced and edited by me, Evan Franulovich. We welcome your emails and questions about coming to Seattle Colleges. Please reach out to us via our website or just give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, as this helps others discover the show. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube at Seattle Colleges INTL. That's Seattle Colleges INTL. And be sure to check out all of the shows here on Conversations With. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.